the fact that Special got knocked down, I feel like Kelazhur likes this, because if he's going to win the entire thing, which is clearly his goal, I feel like he'd rather take Special in a best of 5 than a best of 7 where Special starts 1-0. I feel like he's happy to have Cham that one step further along and have Special now. So in a weird way, maybe this is still Kelazhur's dream as he's proxying. So I guess we should get to some introductions. Top left side, our red Terran player is Special.
In the bottom left-hand side as well as the top left, or in the bottom right-hand side as well as the top left-hand side, it is Kelazhur. Team Requiem. Yeah, he talked about disrespect, and he also mentioned, by the way, what you were talking about right now. He said, yeah, like, you know, like I'd rather play Special without a disadvantage. So let's see what he can do with this nasty double proxy racks that he's going for to start. No doubt Reapers to come.
Yeah, no, I like this. It's seems very fun. I was just gonna see how our racks are going down from Special, and he is currently not scouting, and no second gas just yet either. So Special might be in a hot spot of trouble because he has no idea. He's likely just gonna CC on the low ground very quickly, and that's something which then you just don't have a response to. Like that, in theory, with no scout, should be an auto loss to this T-Rex. Now, of course, there's still a bit of micro to be considered there and so on, but yeah, this is a. This is looking like a really bad start for Special, as we see an STV coming in. And if Special does just drop this CC down, yeah, this is going to be troublesome.
It is going to be troublesome. When we talk about micro, I mean, if you're going to give me one person in the world to give Reapers to, it would be Beyond. But after that, it's probably Kelazhur, right? Like he's up there.
I thought you were going to say, after that, it'd probably be Clem. But then...
Maybe Clem, Maro, but yeah, like, I mean, like, yeah, if you give me 5 people, for sure, the name is going to get dropped in there. And yeah, he already has one out, so it's gonna get nasty. And the Special is looking for it, sort of, but actually that supply depot might end up supply blocking him as well, right? So a little bit of a double-edged sword if the Reapers time it properly. Oh, he gonna see it. He saw it, right? Too late.
Yeah, I mean, too late to really respond anyways, right? As Reapers come up, we lose an SCV building a depot, so that's Special supply block. Even if this factory finishes, he needs an SCV on the corner to finish the depot. That'd be a horrible place to have the depot building for this specific circumstance. Extra Reaper showing up. I think we jump straight up and we...
Careful, no! Okay.
Ooh.
I am rooting for Kelazhur. I will make my biases clear here. So I expect my sounds to reflect that. Because as much as I love Juanito, he's one too much. And it's Diego's time.
Yeah, we need something a bit different, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing wrong with changing up who's been winning. There's a couple of Reapers still poking around. Obviously, at this point, you kind of want to get this CC finished up as Special. That's the one thing that would probably make this all somewhat okay. He's got to be careful fighting on this low ground. A couple more Reapers come in from Kelazhur very soon. And I really believe that Kelazhur can probably just fight everything the Special has. It feels like Kelazhur's Reapers are very slow to show up. As here he he's going to go. CC finishes, but he might just be able to get a good trade against the Marines and the Hellions.
I think he can commit. I think you're right. He does. I mean, he doesn't go after the Hellion. He goes after the Marines and doesn't end up getting them. So, yeah, a little bit sketch. Still did a lot of damage. If we look at the workers tab, it's going to be 21 to 18. But I'm a little bit surprised even that he let the CC finish, right? I think that there was opportunities there for a little bit cleaner micro on the side of Kelazhur. And now Special can just bide his time and be mostly okay. And Kelazhur now dropping a CC on site. But yeah, I mean, this had so much potential and it doesn't seem to have been realized.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everything from like the depot being delayed to the supply block, and it just felt like I was expecting Kelazhur to have like a couple extra Reapers sooner than he actually ended up having them. Love this, using the high ground vision here, trying to get up this ramp. Getting rid of the Hellions earlier would have been amazing, because then obviously continuing to push now would have been much easier as well. Cyclone on the way, not ready yet, so a real opportunity here. Great grenades, going to bop the SCVs all over the place. Hellion getting bopped as well, which is low. I mean, this is the extra damage you're looking for. You get rid of one Hellion, get rid of the other. And now you can just clean up SCVs. Cyclone will pop out, but yeah, by then you've done enough damage, absolutely. 8 workers dead, and you're expanding at home. Yeah, looking good for Kelazhur.
Yep, he knows exactly what's going on. We'll even bob the little Cyclone there towards him, almost teasing him to engage. But yeah, I mean, this is fantastic for Kelazhur. He just floats the other barracks back. It's almost back home already. Drops a third CC. Has double Cyclone in production to account for the potential Banshee. We'll see if he drops something like an Eevee or if he's just going to rely on the energy of his two command centers. Actually, he's going to go and try to meet out the Banshee in the middle of the map. A little bit dangerous, as the Banshee is actually not taking a normal, straightforward route, in spite of it being scouted already. So somewhat surprising for Juanito, but it might pay off.
Yeah, I mean, Kelazhur just gets across the map here, though. He can probably just do mega damage himself, right?
True.
Has that micro potential as well. So in we go. Nothing on the high ground to begin with. Cyclones will unload. Don't use your lock-ons too soon, right? Just auto-attack these SCVs. Don't ever feel like you have to lock on here, because now you don't have a lock-on against Cyclones. He's going to get away. Just has to defend the Banshee across the map, man. It's going to show up. There is going to be a Cyclone here. Banshee will lock onto the Cyclone for some hits, but it gets locked onto itself. It's going to die. Kelazhur gets the game, number 1.
Yeah, very important start. A quick raising of the eyebrows there for Juanito. So he is feeling like maybe Kelazhur coming out a little bit spicy, not expected. And Kelazhur looking like he pulls back his microphone, ready for the interview already. Not yet, my friend. I'm gonna put it down now, realizing that he hasn't won yet.
I think that's like such a just a habit, right? Yeah, like a reflex. Like you come out of game and you're just like, right, I'm gonna tell my stream what I thought about that one. You're like, wait, no, I'm not on stream. Let's put it away. I do it every time when we go in game on these. I'm like about to press my hotkey to take us in game. I'm like, wait, no, I'm not doing the production right now.
That's amazing. I love that.
I can relate, guys. I can relate.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, pretty much the start that he would have hoped for. He got swept last time. That's definitely not going to happen this time around. And yeah, Juanito, I mean, he was looking a little bit more focused as well, Juanito, than in the previous matches. Because I'll be honest, for the match against Eggs, and even the match against Kelazhur and Cham in the previous altercations that he had, he looked a little bit more tired. But this time he's looking focused. He's looking sharp. Like you can see it in his camera that he's not like sleepy and like going like the yawning. And so I think we have a Juanito that's ready to go today. I think we're gonna have a banger of a match, to be honest.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. I believe as we get ready to go on to inside and out for map number 2. Kelazhur leads 1-0 in this best of 5 lower bracket final in the Latin American region. And it's time to see if he can keep up the aggression and keep up the wins, as SpeCial will be looking to jump back and get back onto this. We are going to start in the top right with the player currently representing Sidestorm Gaming. Down a map and fighting back. It's SpeCial.
On the bottom left-hand side, it is his opponent for Team Liquid, the one and only o mais grande do mundo, Brasil. Give it up for Kelazhur. SpeCial also speaks Portuguese, you know?
SpeCial?
Yeah, he's very good at it.
Yeah, I feel like you told me this last time, actually.
He's very powerful. He speaks to Diego in Portuguese, to me in Spanish, usually only when there is multiple people that don't speak either language there. So, another one though. Another one worthy trio.
Okay. And you know what? I like
love this, or do you love this? Yeah, I love this.
I love this. Yeah. It just comes out. It just sets the tone, right? SCV scout gonna go out. Don't go to the right. Nice. Yeah. He's gonna see it. He's gonna realize that he's being proxied probably, and then he's got double gas. Yeah, he's got the better setup, but this map's already kind of great for Reapers anyway, so I really don't mind it for Kelazhur. So yeah, I'm down.
Yeah, the SCV scout might strangely give it away because SpeCial is not gonna see the SCV crossing the map, and he's gonna see it. But still choosing the same supply depot too.
Yeah, I don't mind it though, because honestly, like, he finds out about it like 5 seconds later anyway, right? So you're revealing it by like a handful of seconds, but it is important to have your own SCV in there for some information, so I'm kind of down.
Yeah, I mean, presumably, it's difficult to know how long Kelazhur is going to wait, because last time he went as soon as it got scouted. And this time he maybe doesn't know that it's been scouted, because I guess he could piece it together, seeing the SCV on the other side, that Juan should have evaluated the situation and been like, okay, that SCV came from some weird place. But that's 2 leaps to take, right? Like Juan only has to make the one general assumption of, I definitely didn't see your SCV. Whereas Kelazhur has to be like, your SCV could have seen my SCV, and then you would have had to read into it. But here comes Kelazhur now going for some SCVs himself. This time around, he won't pick off the supply depot, so no supply block for SpeCial.
I kind of like the way in a way, because it's like a bit of a mind game, because maybe SpeCial would be like, oh my god, are you actually even proxying me? Or is this just like one rack's hidden away that I didn't spot?
True.
kind of didn't mind the wait to some extent, but obviously it's a risk, right? Like you're gambling essentially on what you can do using the bunker there, letting the bunker die so you can just get as much in kind of as many free shots as possible. Obviously hoping your opponent hits that bunker rather than the Reapers, but at this point, yeah, this is kind of done.
Yeah, it's not looking great for Kelazhur this time around. Juanito with a much better response, pre-pulling those SCVs at first and then just adjusting accordingly. With that supply depot finishing, it's so much easier for him to defend as well. And now with this Hellions trickling in, it's going to be difficult for Kelazhur. Though SpeCial hasn't dropped the CC on the low ground this time around, right? Instead, he has a proxy Liberino.
And it's right in the natural as well, so it's super close, and obviously you can just... oh, he went for the engineering bay block, so he's going to block the add-on. Yeah,
no,
very
beautiful.
cool. Very cute. Just costs you like 26 minerals, essentially, right? Or like 31 minerals. But very much so, like, just slows down that cyclone and potentially gets you an extra SCV, maybe even 2. Across the map, the Reapers are doing pretty okay, though. 4 extra kills, good grenades, and doesn't lose a Reaper in this exchange. That's exactly what Kelazhur wants to keep on doing. Kelazhur's feeling it, man. He just jumps in, gets a Marine, gets out. I love it.
I absolutely love it. But here comes your boy, the Liberator. Kelazhur's just going to have to evacuate his mineral line for a while here. A couple of SCVs will fall in the process, but no more than that. And now the Cyclone is out and about. SpeCial's going to try to reposition the Liberator now on top of the factory, I would imagine, right? Or just leave.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kelazhur will defend.
I don't mind him just leaving, right? Obviously, it's not ideal. I feel like you could... I mean, the thing is, if you go on top of the factory, you don't kill the Cyclone when it pops. You only get one shot as long as the Cyclone's rallied away. So then it probably is better just to keep the Liberator alive and use it again later. So yeah, I guess I like it.
Yeah, I think he got spotted there by the Reapers very briefly, so I'm not sure if Kelazhur is going to be able to react to that. He will see the starport here, so that's kind of a free starport as well. So as much as SpeCial did a much better job of defending the Reapers this time around, and as much as the supply tells a different tale, I don't feel like this game is gone for Kelazhur by any means. I think it's a really close game.
No.
You think otherwise, don't you?
It depends on this attack. Like right now, I feel like there's so much danger. Your Cyclone's out of position dealing with the Liberator. These units can get onto your natural. The CC doesn't get to build. To me, these are all the problems that Kelazhur has to deal with before we can really talk about this being a game or not, right? And at the moment, he doesn't have any real answer.
So, he has to cancel, actually. So, yeah, to your point, that gets a little bit nasty there. Those 2 Cyclones are doing a lot of work, and these few Reapers haven't had much of a say in the matter. And picking off this SCV, this supply depots will make things further more difficult. I feel like everything should just be coming from behind to ambush almost. You have a medevac, you already have the Reapers loaded up. They can actually just go down the ramp on their own accord. But instead he's getting zoned out pretty hard by the Liberator here, and a 3rd Cyclone. You're right, Wardicho. This is looking a little bit dreadful if Kelazhur can't stabilize here.
Yeah, I just don't see how you stabilize at all, right? I mean,
it's difficult.
It's really tough. There's no doubt about it. As you just see, the Banshee getting some extra shots off. Cyclone still taking some hits, but you get some lock-ons.
Okay.
You get a kill, but I mean, these Cyclones have the upgrade as well, don't forget, right? So it just melt things.
Yeah, for sure. And they're going to go after this. I think this would be a good opportunity for Kelazhur to get a lock-on while those Cyclones are locked onto the tech lab and finish off that very weak Cyclone. Instead, he's going to bide his time, but now Juanito has lock-ons available again. Kelazhur has to be very careful. The Banshee now will take part in the action. The medevac goes down. Cyclones now maybe contemplating going for the Liberator. Instead, they do the sensible thing in going for the Cyclone instead. This Banshee, no! Very important. Now the Cyclones go for the Liberator, but that means they're going to... No! What? Why did they unlock? God. Hard.
This was the most ridiculous fight I've seen in a long time.
It's pretty ridiculous. I'm not gonna lie.
The Liberator survived.
God.
You're kidding me. No way. I'm 2 HP. The Banshee shows up. The Cyclone locks on. The Banshee's gonna die though, right? The Liberator even held.
God. Chips
what is this fight? And the Liberator just... There's no units. You just have GG. Oh my god. I mean, the game was kind of done no matter what, right? But like, what a way to wrap it up. Like, just an absolutely ridiculous battle.
Yeah, you're right. It was done when the CC gets cancelled, almost it felt like, right? Like, you really needed to hold that low ground some way, somehow. I felt like with 7 Reapers, maybe there was a sliver of a chance, but You're right. The Macfield accelerators for the Cyclones of Juanito really coming in handy there as well.
That was that was something crazy, man. I just lost myself. I was just like watching it. I was like trying to understand what was going on. I'm just like, I don't know whose Cyclone's locking onto who. I don't know what's canceling what. I don't know who's about to die. But yeah, obviously, SpeCial was in good control, and Kelazhur just trying to put on a bit of a show at the very end. As I've ready up for Moondance from map 3. Obviously, 2 quick games cards. We're not really seeing the kind of the macro come out from these two yet because of Kelazhur. He's proxying, he's keeping this aggressive, and he's saying, "Hey, look, I want to play a little bit kind of feisty tonight." And obviously, SpeCial then has no option but to kind of play along with that.
Yeah, and SpeCial with great responses as well, right? Like punching back right away, not really being like, okay, like I'll take my small advantage from defending and whatnot. He's using every tool that he has available to him and piecing it together as well. Not an easy thing to do. A lot of players tend to be a little bit rigid, but both players here showing that they can be very flexible and adapt to each other. And yeah, I mean, I've never seen fights like in that last game take place, if I'm being completely honest. Like, where, like, it's such weird decisions to make when it's like, oh, your Cyclones are locked onto my Cyclones, I guess I should pick on my Cyclones, but then that removes my lock-ons as well, right? It's like that kind of exchange is just so ridiculously strange. And I mean, We'll see. I was wondering if Kelazhur would do it again, but he won't. Or will he? He won't.
No. On the bottom right-hand side, our Terran player getting proxied a couple times, but not this game. It's SpeCial.
And in the top left-hand side, not by name, still SpeCial. However, it is Kelazhur.
Well,
shout out to our observer Niall while we have the time. Always with us, always observing. Almost nodding. I'm not sure what that was, Niall. Very poor observing on that last second. Oh, another one. What is that?
Maybe that's just it. He's acknowledging us, acknowledging his.
Oh, it's like a bow. It's like a bow.
It's like a bow.
Bow. Yeah. 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 See, I told you.
Like thinking.
Nice. I love it. All right, SpeCial is gonna scout. Gonna be looking for aggression, perhaps from Kelazhur one time again, and then Kelazhur's not gonna be doing that. Where they choose, so normal-ish game.
I like this though. React it early, right? Just saying, I've been aggressive. I don't feel like you're gonna do anything wild against me, so I'm just gonna get my reactor up early, and then you can really kind of get to a lot of Reapers very quickly as well, right? So that'll be
factory still mining with plenty of SCVs here. Is Kelazhur. This could be baby Doom drops. I mean, there is 3 SCVs per gas from Kelazhur, right? Like, that's not very usual. If we look at SpeCial's side of things, he only has 2 and probably only had 1 and 2 at first. Now Kelazhur going down to 2 SCVs. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense because it is so difficult to transition economically in TVT if you don't remove people from the gas, but it does open up for some weird timings that I am particularly fond of, but Kelazhur's not going to go for those. They're pretty all in.
Yeah. Well, as one Reaper shows up, you got a few moments of awkward, and I love what he did straight away. Extra SCV onto the factory, swap it around, and then, 2 Reapers, Hellion, and you just get to so many units so quickly. It definitely gives you a chance to do something, but how much do you want to commit to?
Yeah, he's already past the scary part, right? Because that first Reaper crossing the map does have the option to maybe take 1 SCV before you can actually get those 2 Reapers out of the map. Kelazhur's going to cross and find that SpeCial is already ready with 2 Reapers of his own. But like you said, a reactor barracks now is in full effect. So it is a powerful tool to have. Like when I open reactor, I usually go Marines because I'm terrified of the first Reaper. But Kelazhur, no fear, handles it and doesn't lose an SCV, I don't think. Not even a single one.
Yep, just gonna get in, try and delay the CC. He takes a bad hit on his Reaper though, so taking a lot of damage. Did he get the Hellion?
Big lineup.
Killing the Hellion.
Yeah, he
really
will.
Nice. Gonna lose his Hellion.
Yeah, the 2 more Reapers.
Okay. He's gonna get a kill. No.
Oh, misses.
Got a kill. Oh, he's got the Hellion.
That's okay. There's the next Hellion. Wonderful from Kelazhur. Yeah.
I was just going to say, these Reapers turned around to chase the Reaper when the Hellion had the Reaper kill anyway, so these Reapers could have been over here and denying the CC for a bit longer and getting an extra SCV, so maybe just a
very good
slight miss micro.
You're completely right about that. I mean, so difficult to think about that and to execute on it as well, but at this level of play, yeah, I think Yeah, that is something that he could have definitely considered and something that he could have definitely done. I mean, getting the delay on the CC would have been huge. Now up against the Cyclone, he's the big bad boss, and he's gonna dive onto it. Dives on with the first Hellion to try not lose anything. But the second Cyclone is here now for Juanito, and that will force the evacuation for a Kelazhur that didn't really accomplish much with this expensive opener.
No, they didn't really get much done at all. And SpeCial has, the CC up a little sooner. He has a couple of SCVs lead. He's already on his way to Ravens as well, and you've got to kind of like that, right? I mean, having the Raven coming out sooner than your opponent, and he's got the cheeky little Banshee to try and get a couple workers, and all you need is a couple workers, right? If you get a couple workers right now, then you're able to put yourself in a position where, hey, look, you're going to be 4 or 5 workers ahead, and then it begins to snowball.
Yeah, I think luckily for Kelazhur, the medevac might have just spotted that Banshee there, so he maybe can have some Marines in position, but he doesn't really have enough Marines. Like, he can't magically produce them, right? So, yeah, this Banshee will get more than a couple of SCVs. On the other side, the medevac will get deflected right away as well from the Cyclone's presence. So now Kelazhur has 4 Marines. He's going to try to fend off against the Banshee, but they will get kited forever.
Yeah, definitely not ideal. Is just going to be seeing our Banshee is
Cyclone
into the main, having a great time, having a party. I mean, he'll die to the Cyclone, but so what? It's done so much damage already. And obviously, I think SpeCial knows it, right? I mean, 9 workers. He's going to be up by 11. Absolutely fantastic stuff as this one medevac is the hope of Kelazhur. He needs to get some kind of damage done with this, else he is in some pretty serious trouble.
Yeah, but I mean, these guys are... yeah, I mean, look at that army, right? It's not really an army. It's like... literally like a bunch of like, I don't know, like they're just not the ideal squad, right? They're not exactly SEAL Team 6. Like one of them is bruised and nearly dead. The other guys don't have any drugs to rely on whatsoever, much less combat shields or anything else. So yeah, I mean, they're not really gonna accomplish anything, not against the forces that SpeCial has there. Kelazhur's gonna try regardless. Good place to drop at least, unspotted.
Yeah, I mean, that's great, but there's 2 cycles right there as well, right? Like, yeah, what are we really going to get?
What do you think you're doing? Yeah.
And then you look at everything else, it's what, I mean, 2 Ravens versus 1. Kelazhur's going combat shield before stim or anything, and SpeCial's playing this double starport style, so he's just cranking out Vikings. He's going to have so much air control with enough tanks to hold the ground. Just don't see how this gets out of hand enough for Kelazhur to kind of take advantage and take it through to a win or so.
Looking very difficult. I mean, this Raven is very powerful. He could have the tools to make something happen here. Does spot the Widowmine as well, so that's going to be a start. Cyclone will get a lock-on. Be careful there, as the other 2 Cyclones are going to encroach from SpeCial, potentially to lock on himself. Somehow, some way, Kelazhur is kind of even in supply still. But I'm taking a 3rd as well, but SpeCial is faster to that. Now Kelazhur sieging in the middle of the map, recognizing that his opponent has vision of his army and could just jump on top of it. And here come the disables from SpeCial, looking to take a fight. I'm not sure that he wants to right now. All the tanks of Kelazhur are siege, and Kelazhur is instead the one that jumps onto the opportunity. Does take down one of those very expensive units, as well as a tank at the front there. So not looking too bad. Not as bad as it was a minute ago.
Yeah, I mean, definitely giving himself an opportunity as he pushes across. This was SpeCial going a bit too far forward, and the only thing I didn't like for Kelazhur is he dropped his auto turret so quickly. They never even really took part in the fight. He still had energy on a Raven and be much more of a believer. Yeah, the Vikings are so controlling right now as well. The Raven goes down to... yeah, I mean, somehow, some way, Kelazhur has to get in here and do something. He loses a tank off to the top of the screen, and his army supply has disappeared.
It has disappeared indeed. 52 workers to 63. So in that regard, SpeCial has longevity in his army. He will continue to outscale. Kelazhur has to land the Vikings Kelazhur in order to not take that fight against the greater numbers of SpeCial. And now, I mean, he has technically map control in the way that he is out on the map, but that can be easily taken away from him whenever SpeCial feels strong enough to move out again. Double starport, nasty.
And double starport, just so much air control. I just see an extra racks on the way up from SpeCial, which I guess is because he actually doesn't have one at all. So he actually needs that to build more factories. So he can't actually continue his mech play just yet. So kind of interesting, something that's going on.
Yeah, that's something. And I don't think Kelazhur has recognized, or at least he hadn't recognized that there was a double starport setup, because he was continuing to make Vikings, and you're never going to win against a double starport in terms of air control, right? So you should just swap around to something else. He is going to find out that there is a double starport now, but one of them at least swaps onto a tech lab. Kelazhur gets a good full scout And now he at least knows what he's going up against.
Yep, I mean, knows what he's going up against. Maybe a bit too late. He's going to start pushing again right now as we see a fusion core coming up. More Raven production from SpeCial. Kelazhur just going to come across with Stim about to finish. If he can take a good position, then maybe there is a way of some hope. The only thing I can say is that SpeCial has been stuck on just one factory of production for tanks for a while, so maybe, like I say, there's something of an opportunity, but it feels unlikely when the Raven control is soon going to be in SpeCial's favor, so he can use that. He's already dealing damage back across the map as well. Workers are dropping for Kelazhur. Liberator coming back into play and just getting so much done.
Yeah, I will say the one glimmer of hope for Kelazhur is the fact that this is the type of game that is likely to still go to max supply, right? He's going to be working with the lesser tools when we get there, but at least he'll probably get there, or at least there's a good chance just because of how SpeCial is getting set up, right? It is basically mech, it is very heavy on the air, so he is looking to play a passive approach with the advantage that he has carved out from himself. So he's playing mech from a comfortable position, but it's still mech, it's still slow, and your opponent will still be able to, you know, make units enough to possibly max out as well.
Then on the left-hand side we go. Kelazhur looking to just try and take positions and make something work. He's giving his Vikings back because he knows he doesn't really have air control yet, so he's very reliant on scans. He can't really use a whole chunk of his supply. At least he kind of recognized it, so he can try and maybe do something with it a bit further down the line. We have a few Vikings are going to press forward and start to get a couple of shots off towards those units of Kelazhur. BCs in production as well. So SpeCial hitting a whole new level here. BCs don't really die to Marines as well. So if Kelazhur doesn't have air control, how does he ever kill the BCs?
Yeah, and that's what the beauty of SpeCial's opening here is, right? Like, gets that air control, and as soon as he knows he has it and his opponent should be kind of forfeiting on those fronts, he starts going for that BC transition. And yeah, I mean, BCs are absurdly strong units against anything that isn't a Viking, basically, in this matchup. Maybe Thors can put up a fight, but I mean, those would be unupgraded and just kind of a 180 from what Kelazhur has been doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Here we go, Kelazhur. Around this right-hand side, Vikings tanks going on a bit of a push forward. We're not going to be seeing these tanks going straight through. Going to grab a sieged up tank. I mean, this is kind of what you got to do as Kelazhur. Work around different directions, do something interesting, get underneath some Vikings, for example. Kelazhur is doing everything he can. He's expanding massively as well, which is also the right idea, you know? Just try and trade out as best as possible, take a lot of bases. I mean, that's how you have a chance in this game at the very least, which is more than you could have said otherwise.
Yeah, exactly. But again, I mean, from SpeCial's position, oh, okay, this is good. I expected a tank to be protecting this position, at least for a few tanks from SpeCial, but maybe he doesn't have the production capabilities. Kelazhur, that is an ambition lift off, my friend, but I guess it's fair enough. If he gets rid of at least one of the battle cruisers, his tanks will have that much more longevity, right? Like, they'll die half as fast. Or...
Yeah. Which is great until the Vikings land again. The BCs are just the one thing that was just a little too much at the very end to get right.
Your voice.
Yeah, Marines.
We are going to see what you were talking about, how Marines do not stack up well against BCs, much less supported by tanks. It's looking grim now.
It is looking a little bit grim, isn't it? I think, honestly, if he'd been able to find something like this opening a little bit sooner, he would have been fine. But the fact that BCs are there is just such a... It's just such a pull away from what Kelazhur needs to be able to do. He does kill a BC now, and, well, he's actually melting the Vikings of his opponent, so something that's gone a little bit better for him. Loses the tank fight there, though, and it feels like he needs everything he can get.
Yeah, maybe a little bit premature from SpeCial to land his Vikings, right? If those Vikings were up in the air, I feel like this game would be over, but maybe he was mostly scared about the marine and ground reinforcements, so... Still with a very, very strong position out on the map is SpeCial as he takes his own 5th base. So matching Kelazhur in those regards, and 94 workers on the side of El Mexicano.
I mean, can't kind of discredit Kelazhur for just trying anything and everything that he can. Still maintains the bases, and these few Marines, if they could like intercept some tanks on siege or so, could be very cool. But it kind of feels like they're getting backed into corner. I guess if they get far enough right, they can escape up that right side instead. So they can back away if they don't want to jump on top of this base. Looks like they're just going to jump on top of the base, though, and get rid of a few SCVs. But it's a lot of Marines to give up for, what, a handful of SCVs. Now you get a siege tank. I mean, maybe now we're starting to talk a little bit, right? We get rid of a couple of Vikings as well. Okay, I mean, we're finding value still.
Yeah, and pulled back the army as well, right? So he gets a little bit of space. And there is those stores that I was talking about for the BCs. I mean, it's not the ideal response in the way that he doesn't have the upgrades, but he's working on that now. So actually, he's not working on that. Those are just air upgrades. But still, I mean, the Thor's pretty strong against BCs.
I like that he's got at least an answer, right? Like, he's got a plan for the game now, whereas beforehand it felt as though he was kind of just running around hoping. Now it seems like there's at least a clear-cut idea as to what he can maybe do to find success, but you still need to start getting rid of these annoying VCs, man. They're so frustrating, but they're on their own here, so they're going to be forced to teleport away as Vikings show up. That's something.
Yeah. That is something, indeed. And now Kelazhur does have 4 Vikings in production at a time as well, so recognizing that maybe SpeCial has dropped the ball a little bit on those regards, right? Like, he is not biting for air control as hard as he was before. So maybe Kelazhur can have the next element of surprise. If he can get that air control, maybe some Liberators, 1 or 2 out, then he could start doing something here. He could take a decisive fight if Juanito overcommits to the ground.
Yep. No, I mean, that's definitely a way to go about it. I mean, I feel like Juanito is doing a very good job, though, of balancing what he's working with, right? A couple tanks, a few Vikings, a new Raven added in. I feel like he's not going overcommitted anywhere. I have liked these Marine counters, though. I mean, if there's one thing SpeCial hasn't had, it's a lot of ground control.
Oh, Vikings!
So Marines this can do a lot, and now they get rid of 3 Vikings. Are we going to just surge these tanks?
I
yes,
love
we
it.
are.
Love it.
Yes.
Oh
yes,
my God!
This is how you would do it. Just diving straight on through. All these Vikings in so much trouble, and behind a mineral line now. I mean, that's another tank he can get rid of as well. Just kills it off. Gonna go for the BC. Sees the opportunity, and honestly, he's gonna get this BC as well. It's so close. Marines get the battle cruiser.
And another one. My God, the SEAL Team 6 right here of Marines. No medevacs required whatsoever. Just run across the map. And what a great job they've done. I mean, even going in here, and for the first time, Kelazhur is going to take the worker advantage after killing 18. Make it 20 of Juanito.
23. 24.
24.
Am I crazy, though? Like, I feel like these Marines are just not meant to find this much damage, but I suppose it makes sense if SpeCial hasn't had enough on the ground to cover all of these bases as he expands further onto the map. And now, Kelazhur is actually pushing forward, and yeah, I mean, I can actually kind of see it. No, I mean, what's the unit count at right now? Because we have so many Vikings. Kelazhur has more Vikings in play at the very least.
Yeah, I mean, when we were talking about Juanito balancing his army, they were about even. But after taking that many down, it is no longer the case. It's Kelazhur with a decisive advantage on that front, and now looking to push the advantage, which I absolutely love. He knows how much that those Marines did, and now he is in a good position as well with the first siege of those tanks as well. So beautiful job from Kelazhur here. Still respectable numbers in the air for Juanito. The Thors are gonna have a say in the matter as well, though.
Yeah, they are, and they're doing pretty well. That one low HP BC just about gets away. Kelazhur is losing a lot of Vikings in this fight.
He did.
As he is denying bases, though, and by denying bases, he's going to cut off SpeCial's ability to rebuild with more Vikings, and so then Kelazhur can take a Viking advantage.
Yeah, and Juanito really doesn't have that much real estate, right? So if you're Kelazhur, I think that base where Juan is floating right now should be your priority, in the sense that if he doesn't have that base, you're probably pretty far ahead, right? You effectively have your opponent pinned back to 1 or 2 bases, and you know it. And yeah, to your point earlier, those Marines had no business doing that much damage, and that is why it's important, and that is why at this level, and that is why, like, usually when you watch SpeCial or most of the toppest tier level players, they will have those Marines scattered across the map, right? Like, they will have spotters, so that you know where your opponent is coming from. Like, Kelazhur was just taking a stroll, and if he gets shot at from the tank, he backs away, but he never did, right? So he just kept going.
Maxed out Kelazhur pushing around the right side. Can he find openings, enough of them over here to really just push on through? A couple tanks that he just runs straight into, no issue. He's got a couple of Ravens. He drops a Matrix down on one of the BCs. It's a Viking fight that's obviously unfair, and upgrades. Does Kelazhur really have the power to push through this? I mean, seemingly so, but there's a turret there as well. He is almost about to blow up the planetary force. The SCVs couldn't surround it fast enough just then. As now the Thor's trying to fight, the Vikings are fighting as well. We've got a few Marines still going as well. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, the Vikings are gonna win because of the great repair there. Great move from Juanito to take the aggro from the Thors. onto the battle cruiser. I think that if those Thors were, I think they would have been better utilized just throwing splash onto the Vikings while the Viking on Viking is going on, right? But instead they take the aggro onto the BC, the Thors, and the BC gets repaired for long enough that Juanito withstands. But he's still behind in supply considerably so.
Oh yeah, absolutely. These Marines probably want to be more careful. Going down here, the Vikings will land to try and break this base. SCVs are pulling in. I mean, a BC is going to show up. This tank is going to go down. These few Vikings are going to be supported by Thor showing up. And KG is called. Kelazhur is going to take it in. Wow, what I think might be one of the best PvTs I've seen in a long time, because a lot of this made no sense to me. And Kelazhur found such innovative ways to kind of win this, despite, I mean, when do you ever see like Marines moving around like that in a game like this? Yeah, I mean, credit to Kelazhur. He just kind of, to me, played a bit outside the box, and he had to because he was in a tough position. Played outside the box and made it work when he had to, and gets himself a very well-earned W.
A very well-earned W. A huge comeback as well from him. But again, like when we go back into that game, for me, Juanito is very capable of playing bio as well as mech. And when you have that great of a lead, I don't like mech, right? Because you have to play passive when you play mech, and then there is room for error. Sure, he was going into a very advantageous position with everything that he would want. Like, if you're gonna give me a mech game, give me that one. But at the same time, with bio, you could have probably just trampled him a little bit earlier, I feel like.
I wonder if the biggest issue was just, at one point I felt like, you know, when that barracks had to rebuild before we can build an extra factory, I was like, well, what if he just has like twice as many tanks, like a couple minutes from then, because he had a second factory already up building extra tanks? That could have made a big difference too, man. So much going on. It was just one of those wild games that's just so difficult to just call, because it's just so crazy from what you expect it to be. So we are going to go to Waterfall and map number 4, and it's Kelazhur's match point, as we might have SpeCial out of the Latin American DreamHack. Apparently, SpeCial has won 13 Latin American WCS/EPT events in a row. It's been 2017.
13? I thought it was 8.
So he's won 7 in a row, like DreamHacks, but if you go back to WCS events, like he's won 6 of those as well in a row. You have to go back.
What was the last year that 2017? That's when Kelazhur was saying that he was that he was at his peak, and that's probably the last champion other than SpeCial was Kelazhur back then. It's been a while.
It has been a long time. Wow, absolutely fantastic stuff, man. Let's get into it. As we have in the bottom left-hand corner, a red Terran player down a map, and will he finally lose in a DreamHack? It seems like he might. It is SpeCial.
And in the top right-hand side, in top peak that we haven't seen since 2017, do Brasil, it is Kelazhur. Absolute animal. I mean, he did everything that he could to claw his way back into that game.
Yes.
Really have to love it there.
Yeah. No, I mean, that was one of those situations which was just so good. I mean, even like 2 or 3 minutes before it ended, I don't know about you, but I felt like he wasn't taking any good fights. And, you know, he was obviously having a lot of base and stuff. I was like, man, surely you can't just run into fights like this and come out and somehow win the game. But he continued to just take these fights and eventually just overran SpeCial, who really did run into an economy problem. Yeah,
I think that a lot of the problem for SpeCial was that a lot of these fights were not fair for him, right? Like, it was kind of like Vikings flying over Marines a lot of the time getting picked up, or like tanks where it was like just one tank to welcome that gaggle of Marines. And, you know, Kelazhur just kept taking isolated fights, and I think it was that Marine group that really did it for Kelazhur, right? Like, he got so much value out of it.
Yeah. It was actually just wow. I honestly, I'm
oh my god, looking for a punish. This is cool. Look, if he gets the Reaper here, that's huge.
Yeah, gets the first shot very nicely. He's got the SCV chasing too, and now he's going to continue to chase himself, but you have the reach.
He get it?
Oh.
I think he can when he turns a corner, perhaps when he jumps up a cliff. It's possible. No, he's going to give the chase away. That's too scary to go up into the dark.
Very cool as well, because Kelazhur is open 2 racks here, right?
This is still
So
nasty, though.
if he'd already had a kill, I mean, the fact it's still damage is a pretty big deal, because now 2 on 2, he's going to win that fight. He's going to get the SCV. He's going to turn onto the Reapers. Is it enough? The grenade actually hurt SpeCial there. That wasn't ideal either.
Here's the third Reaper, but there's a Hellion now out. And Kelazhur, maybe if he can get the SCV again, that would be wonderful for him. Gonna go after the Hellion instead. Goes and gets the Reaper. I think Kelazhur can win this fight. It's super close, but yeah, he gets the ideal shot and now retreats to heal his Reaper. And now he's gonna go and try again for the SCV that's built in the command center, I imagine, as the third Reaper will join in. No chance for the Cyclone to participate just yet, as it's only halfway done.
Yeah, good damage. Slows down the CC a lot. Obviously, his own CC only just starting, but he's still got 4 Reapers to control his area with. He's gotten a bit of damage done. He's shutting down the early unit count of his opponent. You're right, the Cyclone is probably going to be the deal breaker, the one that can really push back these Reapers, and Kelazhur has to be careful right now. You don't really want to lose a Reaper to the Cyclone straight away for no reason. He's going to lose 1. He loses 2. That's sad, because I feel like now you can't actually have enough Reapers to really overwhelm the Cyclone.
Yeah, at the same time, it was the reveal of the Cyclone, so as soon as he gets the lock-on, you know that Reaper's dead, so I like the commitment after that, right? As soon as the lock-on happens, it's like, okay, trade for the Reaper, trade for the Marine, and he does get something, and he's still trying to overwhelm here. Does get the lock-on, or does force the lock-on onto the only unit that can get away fast enough in the Hellion.
Yeah.
So you love to see that, but now the second Cyclone is out, and Diego's going to have to disengage. Juanito fighting for his life here.
I mean, this was the right way to do it. And again, lead with the Hellion, so that takes the lock on, gets the Hellion away. Again, job very well done. Kelazhur is doing everything correct so far in terms of trying to get as much damage out of this. And back at home, his own CC was only a moment or so behind his opponents. He was a worker up. I feel like this is looking pretty okay for Kelazhur with that one Banshee, right? The cheeky Banshee that can do it all. As Kelazhur from here, of course, is playing double rack, so you have a much faster stim and bio army from this point. We'll see if that's something he can utilize as this game goes by. And he still has the Reapers to at some point maybe make a showing. The biggest issue is this Banshee, and it's very possible this Banshee gets way too much done.
Yeah, we've seen this before, though. The last Banshee that SpeCial kind of threw to the wind of Kelazhur in the last game, it got like, what, 9-10 kills before it fell down? So we'll see. This mine will kill the Hellion, so punishing it for going in the front this time around.
Yep, there's the Banshee, getting rid of a few SCVs already, 4, 5. No response. I mean, Marine's on the way down, but you would have thought maybe maybe you could have pulled away a little bit there. The tank
Medevac available.
Didn't
save it. Yeah, Medevac wiggling towards the end. They're trying to save its comrades, but it's not going to be enough. And now with the Raven here, SpeCial should be able to dislodge.
Yeah, I can't imagine this tank wants to stick around too long to kind of find out what happens if the other tanks get in range. He is going to come forward. He's going to start getting some shots off, but he's going to realize with the Raven there, this is going to work. He lifts the tank into the medevac that's locked onto. And Kelazhur gives up an early unit. He maybe didn't have to in SpeCial. Because of the Banshee, has a 6-worker lead. And obviously, Kelazhur just didn't do anything to answer that.
Yeah, beautiful job from Juan to recover here. I mean, it was a difficult game after that Reaper start. Kelazhur definitely managing to catch him off guard. And now the only thing going for Kelazhur is the extra production that he got from dropping the barracks earlier, whereas Juanito has that lead thanks to the Banshee. So looking good for the Mexican to take it to game 5, but still not there.
Yep, obviously a ways to go yet, especially in the matchup of TVT.
True.
So yeah, TVT is a very defensive matchup. Although that said, obviously, it feels like Kelazhur's setup right now is one that really relies on a bit of momentum.
Yeah.
I feel like SpeCial should be pushing because he's pushing into stimmed Marines.
He's pushing onto Steam Marines, but I mean, I agree with you because SpeCial doesn't know what's going on, but Kelazhur was actually making 2 medevacs. Is that the set of units that you want? And I think that Kelazhur is just going out on the map to kind of delay this, because if SpeCial gets in position, it's going to be so very difficult for Kelazhur. Now the Ravens are going to choose to spend energy to potential... What? Okay, well, going after the combat shields, perhaps? Not sure.
Well, if you target fired it, yeah, but that is in fact just the barracks, which is going to be much tougher to get. I like this though, right? We're just going to take the 2 medevacs across the map. I think you are okay playing the medevacs here because you're not going to have the Viking count or the air control because you're playing the 2 racks opener. So I like getting the medevacs and making use of the fact that you have stim. This obviously isn't where you want to drop off. That wasn't ideal. And now he flies into Vikings. He has a boost to get out of there. Yeah. If he just dove straight into the main base, I could have liked that a lot, but obviously he just didn't have the information as to where he should or shouldn't drop.
Yeah, and there was 2 Vikings patrolling that airspace, so it may not have worked that well. And yeah, I like the medevacs too. Like yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying the medevacs are bad. I'm just saying on defense they're not ideal. But like if you're gonna apply aggression, right? If you're gonna go for drops, like you were saying, like the plan for Kelazhur was to keep up the momentum, and I completely agree with that. And I think he does too. So the medevacs are a good choice, just dangerous on defense.
Yeah, that's a medevac, which looks as though it's going to go down. Only a couple Marines left inside it, at least. As yeah, Cyclone patrolling nicely and just finding the catch on that. So a job very well done, has to be said, because that's just special, really pushing for as much information as possible and really getting something out of it.
Yeah, I love to see how proactive Kelazhur has been throughout the series, though. It is much more his style, so he is much more in his comfort zone than in the previous series against SpeCial, where they seem to be kind of playing a little bit more passive, both of them, which is a style that is more suiting for SpeCial, right? SpeCial tends to be the type of player that is a little bit more comfortable come the late game, like just not trading as many actions and just kind of like punching you back when he has an advantage, when he clearly has defended whatever you throw at him first.
I like that Kelazhur gets rid of this Cyclone. It does feel as though just getting rid of a bit of map control is exactly what you want to do, right?
Yeah.
Just because SpeCial's been so good with his map control, and obviously Kelazhur is clearly wanting to get into positions. Down 14 workers, so he has serious work to do. He has a third base, like it's 3 versus 3 bases. He just doesn't have the SCVs to saturate like SpeCial does.
Yeah, big army as well from Kelazhur, and it's mostly gonna arrive to the other side unannounced. So let's look at the natural setup for SpeCial. How many units do we have there? Because that is the more likely base to get hit here. That is a pretty good setup.
Yeah, this one SCV is going to see the units get in position. It's not like you really have the air control to kind of play like a long drawn out kind of siege here either, right? So
Yeah.
and Kelazhur is also way behind on the 1-1 upgrades. I didn't even realize that because I kind of just assumed he'd be ahead in everything.
SpeCial's go for it. Kelazhur has to realize and turn around with the Marines. Now he stims and runs to the left so that he may get some concave to evacuate his tanks. But on the other side, SpeCial's trying to encroach with the Ravens. They are going to get denied by a single Viking there from Kelazhur, a hero in his own right. But now the tanks are getting enclosed into, and very difficult job of evacuating here. A couple will get shaved off.
Yeah, messy, right? Just going all wrong. A couple of tanks that already siege get Matrix, and we're going to auto turret them as well. So SpeCial can continue to chase. These Marines are such low HP, but it just doesn't matter as it's so much. SpeCial is going to just power through, and yeah, Kelazhur's army just never really got going to that.
Yeah, I mean, beautiful job from SpeCial here to capitalize. This is exactly what I was talking about. He will wait. He will wait for you to overextend, and as soon as you do, he will look for the punish. And that was just beautiful with the Ravens, because that was the last line of defense for Kelazhur. He was just running, and he thinks, okay, at some point, you know, I'm gonna run, and then the next warning that you get is gonna get half of your Marines game being shaved off by my 2 hidden tanks from this low ground. But SpeCial spots them, and he uses the Ravens very effectively to close out the game. So great job from him, and it's gonna be game number 5.
Yeah, game number 5. We're going the distance between these two, who we all, again, so often see in the grand finals, right? But today only one of them can make it to that grand final. And yeah, we're going to have a final map, Tropical Sacrifice. Big macro map, easily defendable 4 bases. But TVT, this is one you kind of look at and say, yeah, probably going to go pretty long. So honestly, I feel like that kind of favors SpeCial a little bit more. But we did see Kelazhur that crazy game on Moondance as well. So yeah, and everything up in the air, anything possible as we enter game 5. And of course, Cham is just sat in this win and in that grand final, right? And he's thinking, man, I have a 1-0 lead and a best of 7. These two are like draining each other's energy already. You know, if I'm Cham, I'm sitting here thinking it's brilliant that this is going to 5 maps. So, you know, feels good, I think. Like, I'm going to be looking this happy.
No doubt. I mean, there's something to be said about the warm-up as well. I think it'll affect players differently, right? Like, sometimes it's good to play a few games to get in the groove of things and get into that competitive mindset. But yeah, I mean, if the series is long and grueling, it can be pretty excruciating to play 2 in a row. So yeah, I would prefer Champ's position personally.
Yeah. Has been, I mean, not all these TVTs have been long, right? But that Moondance game definitely was, and Tropical Sacrifice definitely has the possibility to be. Gonna find out how it all turns out. Catch will it be SpeCial or Kelazhur entering the grand finals of Latin America. The winner of this map will decide it. In the top right-hand side from Psystorm Gaming, now red Terran is SpeCial.
And in the bottom left-hand side, it is the hopeful today. young Kelazhur for Team Liquid. Man, it's been so long. 2017.
Yeah.
I think I've seen this film before, and I didn't like the ending, Wardy. It's discouraging when he's up to 1. Yeah, for sure. Like when he's up to 1, I was feeling like, okay, it's happening. But now I'm just feeling the lyrics of Taylor Swift here. I feel like, history is bound to repeat itself. I haven't seen a different outcome in so long. And this, I will make no secret of it, does feel like the finals in disguise. I will be surprised and pleasantly so if Cham ends up winning. But I think the winner of the series definitely has the best shot at winning the whole season.
Yeah, I think so too. I know Cham took down SpeCial 3-0. I feel like that's hard to imagine happening again, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Kelazhur looked so good against Cham in the games that they played in the group stages as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely a little question mark as the SCVs high five going through the middle of the map.
Yeah, exactly at the same time, exactly in the same place. So both of these players so evenly matched. Over 9,000 their power each. And now they will get inside each other's main to see what's going on. They will find that it's a mirror.
Yeah,
exactly
the same. Nothing different between them. Workers pulled out of gas. Slight difference. SpeCial has one more worker in gas still.
Very nice.
Cool. And the reactor versus a Reaper. So Kelazhur feels comfortable going straight to the reactor. SpeCial gets an extra Reaper. Obviously, it could mean that Kelazhur gets aggressive once that reactor's up. We've already seen how fast it can just crank out units, of course.
Yeah, and this is kind of good news for a SpeCial for Kelazhur who sits in the bushes, and the SCV does soak up the shot, but that also means, I guess, that Kelazhur's SCV is going to be out of commission for a little bit longer as it will retreat, so maybe a little bit good for SpeCial overall. But I mean, pretty minor stuff, nothing really happening here. No Hellions being constructed on either side.
Yep. I mean, Kelazhur, like I say, will have that reactor, so he'll get to a higher Reaper count eventually, a little faster. Like, when they hit 3 Reapers, it's going to be at about the same time, but then if Kelazhur wants to go to 5 Reapers, he will get there much sooner than SpeCial would, so that's typically where Kelazhur might have a timing or something he can try and get done, so we'll see if that will be the case.
We shall see indeed. 2 Reapers at a time. Hellion coming up. He will look to, I imagine, push the trigger pretty soon, and SpeCial really has been looking to absorb throughout the entire series, right? Like he isn't the one that we expect will get aggressive. It's usually Kelazhur to throw the first punch and try to break his opponent, and that feels like just kind of how these two players have always stacked up against each other. It feels like every series that they play against each other is kind of like this theme, with Kelazhur being the aggressor and trying to find those openings. And traditionally he hasn't found them, but in this particular series, he has. So let's see if he can keep that up.
Absolutely. Here we go. All these Reapers and Hellions going across the map looking for some damage. Now, what does SpeCial have set up to deal with this? 2 less Hellions, 2 less Reapers, but he does have the Widow Mine, which can backfire if it gets dragged onto his units, right? So typically a Hellion going up here and taking that Widow Mine shot but onto his opponent's unit. Okay. Split away is fine as well. Hellion for mine is essentially an even trade in terms of production here. Now it's just about getting damage done before the Cyclone gets out, but Cyclone is very close to finishing. The Reapers hold up to the high ground. They're going to really commit in for something here, man. And they're doing well, but there's the Cyclone. Oh, Cyclone takes a lot of hits, though.
Yeah, but not enough to kill it, and that is painful if he could have finished that off. Thanks, Spider. Looked pretty good, but now it's going to get repaired back to full HP, that Cyclone, and the Raven didn't really use any energy either on defense there, so a successful, mostly defense for SpeCial. I mean, he does lose 3 SCVs, and Kelazhur does pull 4 SCVs away ahead. But he is going to be behind as far as the Raven count, which is, a nice advantage for SpeCial in that regard.
Yeah, Raven's obviously the big unit, of course, of TVT. It's so important to have Ravens. Kelazhur's going to keep aggressive as well. He's going to send his Raven across the map to deal damage. I like it, man, in a way. Like, he did get a few SCV kills. He's put SpeCial a little behind. He just wants to try and maintain that little lead. The worst thing that happens here is he loses the Raven. As long as he keeps the Raven up, though, I don't mind it.
Yeah, it will get spotted right away by that building CC. And only one SCV will fall, but as well as an evacuation and a little bit of an opening here to make something happen. It's going to be a Hellion for a Hellion trade by the looks of it, so nothing too crazy here in the exchange.
Good little attempt. I like that Kelazhur brings his Raven back home now too. Because obviously if you keep on trying to go for like auto turret after auto turret, then you don't have any MG yourself in case you need it defensively, right? So I like him pulling it back, and SpeCial's going to initiate with his own Ravens across the map now, so he'll try and get some workers himself.
Yeah, and I like that because SpeCial knows that Kelazhur has been so proactive out on the map the entire series, and in particular in this game, so it's unlikely that he has units back here. Of course, Kelazhur this time around does have the... Oh, be careful, Mr. Cyclone!
Gets it!
It will fall.
Yeah, but he gets the Raven.
So will the Raven, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely worth it to get rid of a Raven, I think. Cyclone is much less important a unit as time passes by, so...
Yeah.
Fantastic to get the Raven. Okay, big play right there.
Also denies the damage, right? Like the economic damage that they could have done, so...
Forces them to drop the auto turrets way sooner than they would have liked.
So very, very good set of happenings there. As per usual.
Kelazhur has been the aggressor almost entirely in this series, it feels like. He has got a couple of Vikings lead, but that's because he's obviously built one less Raven, but of course he killed a Raven, so now that's even, and he has a Viking lead, so that's actually really nice. Auto turrets for their siege tank initially as well, forced the unsiege. One more auto turret that maybe wasn't even needed, but he is going to get positioned to start denying the third base, and I mean that should be forced to lift off. There's only a handful of SCVs there, but there's definitely something you can do. These Marines need to kind of move along though.
Yeah, and they will move a little bit north. That's exactly what they need to do, but they stop being tended to, and they are going to kind of suicide onto this tank, unfortunately for them, and they're not going to be able to finish it off. Instead, the Raven will go down, but not before clearing this launching Kelazhur out of this position. The Ravens will, or rather the Vikings will fly towards the tank. I thought they were looking for a land there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, SpeCial with a great defense.
Yeah, I feel like Kelazhur messed this up a little bit, right? Like these Marines off and way, kind of on their own accord.
Yep.
Just not really dealing with that high ground siege tank as well, which is the one obvious tank location too that I feel like you could have played around a little bit more and just like I say, good day, like you say, right? Good defense from SpeCial, but maybe more potential from Kelazhur and how he got set up there. Maybe could have been just a little bit more dangerous with his movements.
I completely agree. I mean, can we look at where the first tank was, like where the first tank of SpeCial was, and the auto turrets were dropped? Yeah, on the map. Yeah, like somewhere around here, right? Like the auto turrets were dropped. I feel like if you go left here and just go deny the expansion, right? Like siege over there, then you're just denying the expansion happily. But instead, he kind of like gets split in between and can't really protect his army with the Marines while dealing damage to the command center. So yeah, a little bit split on the ideas there. Maybe could have readjusted. Maybe didn't know the third was there to begin with.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And then when the Marines split off to the third, I feel like that's bad as well, instead of just like sticking to your tanks, right? Like just do everything together, because otherwise you do get picked apart a little bit. As it stands though, I mean, worker counts are close enough. Kelazhur slight lead. Obviously we're playing bio versus mech though, so two very different styles of play. Love mech for this map. I think it's a very easy map to defend 4 bases on. I mentioned that before we started. And like I said, that kind of makes it perfect for mech and difficult for the bio player to do much about. The mech player getting to 4 bases, so you're kind of forced into a long game. And that's obviously typically not what you want to be doing.
Yeah, for sure. But we saw how adept Kelazhur was at working around the mech. Like even before that Marine squad that seemed to be a little bit of a blunder that SpeCial is unlikely to fall for again. He was kind of playing all over the place, like just good positioning, like having 2 armies out on the map, right on either side. And I think that he has the right idea here, Kelazhur. So I am excited for this. This is kind of the classic as well, as far as representing these 2 players, right? Stylistically, I think Juanito is the mech and Kelazhur is the bio, and that's how it's always been. So another classic in this great classic to end all classics.
It's the classic of classics. Is
the classic of
Vikings
the classicals.
Have a little skirmish here. I don't imagine this is something Kelazhur really wants to get too heavily involved in. Hits a nice anti-armor missile though. He's just stepping forward.
Okay.
Kind of wild. 3 siege tanks and a bit of a battle line. He's going to break through 1. There's more tanks in the back. He's maybe going to win the air battle, but he loses so many Marines. He honestly doesn't do bad trading out tank-wise, though. If you just back away, replace your Marines from this, I don't hate it too much.
Yeah, they've been kind of expendable throughout the series of Marines. They haven't shown to be too important. So resetting that tank count, like you were saying, was pretty good. And I could see the glimmer of hope there for Kelazhur, maybe with a little bit better splits against the first few tank shots. Could have killed 1 or 2 more tanks.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I feel like he didn't quite know how many tanks were there as well, which made it a very difficult play initially too. You don't know how you want to engage in. Do you want to dive the tank specifically? Yeah, at least this fourth base has been delayed a little bit as Kelazhur gets his own in position, so he's able to take his own out over there. And obviously, SpeCial just continues to build up this mech force and more workers as well. So he's going to have a lot of reinforcements, a lot of power to play with as we continue through.
Yeah, at the same time, you were talking about how securing 4 bases is easy, and I completely agree with you, but he hasn't been able to land the third just yet because Kelazhur is already here, right? And this is what you want to see from Kelazhur. And again, on the other side of the map, he is going to use his mobility that he has over the mech to try and deny. Apparently, this CC at EV, he's got to be careful. Oh, only a couple of them will fall.
Hey, nice if you get rid of this command center, though, right? I mean, that's CC. That takes a while to rebuild. Tanks are just going to start move commanding down this ramp. I guess we just got enough coming over to deal with this. I was kind of surprised to see just how easily, I guess, that got pushed back. But, I guess a good amount of tanks. Hellions were buffering for a long time as well, of course, so makes sense that it gets pushed away.
Yeah, and Kelazhur really doesn't want this base for SpeCial to go up the fourth base. What happened with that tank? Was there a leap or something? Maybe I'm going
I didn't see.
insane. But yeah, like I mean, this is now a much more difficult position, I think, to push into, just because all the tanks are already in location. And if we look at the Viking count, it is in favor of SpeCial. So there is no room for Liberators really to kind of like make an appearance on the side of Kelazhur and start dislodging this army so that he can actually make work with the bio. So cool from SpeCial, like to relocate as fast as he could. And now I'm not sure what do you do if you're Kelazhur? You just have to accept that your opponent's on 4 base, I guess.
Except he's on 4, kind of not let him get to 5. I think what's awkward though is that the base that you're holding at the front there, SpeCial, is not the easier base to hold per se. So if you're Kelazhur, you really want to stop him taking the bottom right, but that's the tough one to deny usually. I guess if he's so focused on the middle, then maybe it's not as simple to defend as usual. And maybe it leaves you some openings for Kelazhur to kind of move up this right-hand side and towards the natural for siege, but that's going to involve taking down those tanks.
I mean, he's going for it.
Wow, he is bending it, isn't he? He's just
tanks.
going to stem straight in. Those tanks will do a lot of damage to begin with, and now reinforcement
The rest of them are
get
here,
set
though.
up. If we just run into the natural, though...
Yeah, the Marines can sneak in, exactly. And that's exactly what they're going to do. This is nasty good for Kelazhur. Now he's going to get the CC potentially killed here. A bunch of SCVs. A Thor makes his way out, but I'm not sure that it can defend. The Liberator is good for zoning here. All those Marines very, very bruised, but the Thors one-shot him anyway, so they don't care if they have a million HP or less, but the Hellions, of course, will get the easy pickings off the low HP Marines. Now taking shelter in the tank line, where the Thor might end up falling, ends up surviving with just barely a sliver of HP. And yeah, Kelazhur has continued to expand during this, so looking okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously the big thing. Kelazhur keeps getting bases up while he's denying potential locations of SpeCial, and obviously you killed off a natural CC, or you got rid of a lot of SCVs, so it's a base like SpeCial isn't mining from properly anymore for a while. These are kind of the plays you need. Because when you look at resources lost, it's going to be a little bit... wow, it's actually Kelazhur fading.
Wow.
No? Wow, I mean, that shocked me.
Yeah.
I mean, that position in theory should be great for Kelazhur right now.
It should. It should indeed. I mean, at this point in the previous game that we saw in this sort of with this sort of setup on Moondance, we already had SpeCial going into those BCs, and it was looking a lot more grim for Kelazhur. This time around, kind of sticking to the ground is SpeCial, and making a lot more Thors. So yeah, I mean, he's gonna be even less mobile, I feel like, but now that he's situated this 5th base, difficult for Kelazhur to do much about that.
But Kelazhur, one thing Kelazhur really has been able to do, right, is because he's been in control, he's got 3 starports up. He's massing Vikings. He's not got Viking count yet, but he's going to start building them, but he's going to have a Raven count that SpeCial doesn't. So
big.
If Kelazhur just holds up for a while, that air control can be absolutely game-changing, because then once you have the Viking count, a couple libs goes a long way. The Ravens are obviously extremely useful. So I like it. What he's building into behind this seems great. I love it. And I do worry a little bit for SpeCial that he's maybe drawn himself a little thin, because that left side forward base and that right side 3 o'clock base are very different positions. And there's only 4 tanks on the top here. And he's going to be able to zone out with all of his other tanks, right? So just that base gone. Stand up to the high ground. I guess you need Kelazhur to see what's going on. So many of his tanks are going to die.
Scan up the hangar. Okay, it's only a couple of tanks that end up falling. Okay, make it 3 or 4. But still, I mean, they're very happy to get that position, I'm sure, is Kelazhur. Now adding an extra armory as well, and continuing with that Viking production. I would love to see some sort of other kind of transition out of those starports, though. Perhaps battle cruisers would be the play, or just additional ravens, like you were proposing, right? Because right now he's just kind of sticking to what he has had, and this army in a straight up fight will not trade well. It's just that he has been finding the openings by poking and prodding.
Yeah, but I think that's fine, right? As long as he's keeping up building ravens. I would just like to see him get a few Vikings up as well, because ravens are nice, but actually having some air control with the Vikings is also extremely important, right? So I feel like that's what we kind of need to see a little bit as Kelazhur heads out to the right side, and like I said, he's got ravens, but if they can't get into range because of the Vikings, what does it matter?
It doesn't matter much, and yeah, SpeCial has been really good at scanning the army, going after those ravens. Kelazhur, however, has been very good at identifying where he can push. Is this one of those locations that 6 tanks waiting for the bio? It will get completely decimated here, as now the Liberator will make use of the air control for Juanito, who has taken a massive supply lead, resets the tank count, and he has a killer instinct. I think this is go time for him. What can Kelazhur do on defense now?
Yeah, no. He just gave up everything. I don't know. Like, I understand at points of this game why you want to be aggressive, but this was a misread. He didn't need to be aggressive anymore. I feel like he traded out enough. He was building up the air army, like I've said repeatedly at this stage. I don't feel like he was the one that had to do anything. You've got SpeCial on 4 bases. Why are we running into one of those 4 bases? You know, with bio up a ramp. You know, you've got base after base. You've got the 6 o'clock. You've got the top left. You have absolutely no need to go running in like you did, and I feel like unfortunately that means that Kelazhur is kind of giving this game up, and SpeCial gets to just come across the map and capitalize on his opponent's recklessness.
Yeah, I think that was 6 or 7 tanks as well, right? Like every other time that we were commending Kelazhur on just kind of like diving for it, it wasn't up a choke, up a ramp like you were mentioning, and it was up a max of 4 tanks, I want to say. But this time around it was 6 or 7. That's a little bit too much to go up a ramp. And like you're saying, SpeCial is going to be much more condensed, right? So the rest of his army is going to be quick to follow there, no doubt. So now Kelazhur, I mean, he's still kind of holding on by the smallest margin here. This CC, so not so much, as it's going to get picked off by the Vikings. But the army of SpeCial is going to get caught off guard. Is there anything to defend SpeCial here at the natural? Because if Kelazhur does make it into the natural in a comfortable position, it will be expensive for SpeCial to trade, and that's where Kelazhur can come back into this game.
You can use a Matrix on one of these tanks just so you can get on top of them quickly. I like that he's not stimming, because obviously you don't really have any medevacs to heal with, right? So he kind of can't afford to stim. He's going to stim now, and the Vikings are at least threatening. Here come the Thors from behind. The tanks are coming in. Well, I mean, honestly, it's probably one of the best fights you could take is Kelazhur. He's shredding a lot. I mean, he takes the attention away from his own side of the map as well, but in the end, he just gets wiped, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does, and a few of those units that were spawning in the main for SpeCial from the barracks took some tank fire as well. Whereas if Kelazhur could have focused fire a little bit more, maybe a little bit more dies in the front here from those expensive tanks. But good effort from Kelazhur, and I applaud his willingness to A, not stim like you were mentioning, and B, try to make it into the main. Because I thought you just hold a natural ramp, and maybe he would have even gotten better trades there, but he really wanted to force up the ramp, right? Like if he made it into the production, that could have been really deadly, and it's not an option that I thought was possible, but he almost made me believe there.
Yeah, he gave it some hope. It was a cool move as well, because like I say, it takes the attention away from his side of the map. So he's able to reestablish some bases in a position that he wasn't really doing well in before otherwise. Now it gave him some time and at least an opportunity. We are going to see Hellions shredding the mineral line on the bottom. I'm not sure what we have to do with that amount of Hellions quickly. That might just be one of the issues we have right now, is Kelazhur is going to lose a lot of SCVs. Medipacks are like, we'll heal you guys! Yeah, lifting them might be a little bit of a better option.
For sure, but now the Hellions are going to evacuate, no problem. They're just killing Marines on the way out. And now more SCVs. This little squad of bio is going to try to make something happen, but there's tanks waiting for them, and now the Hellions will just suicide onto the tanks to make them kill each other.
You know, it's getting close though, man. I mean, SpeCial's base he just have set up are low mineral counts, so it's not
kind
like
of insane.
He's got so much mining. He's massively oversaturated, so the worker lead doesn't mean as much as it maybe should. The biggest issue that Kelazhur has is that, in theory, SpeCial's army is just better at fighting, right? So he can draw out the game if he wants to, but right now, drawing out the game might not even be that bad for Kelazhur. Obviously, walking into Sensitive range over here.
It's not, yeah. Because he's so much more well spread. I mean, this game looked a little bit over, and I feel like if Juan would have just pushed this advantage, when he was already across the map, instead of pulling all the way back for Kelazhur. Maybe he closes it out right there and then, but doesn't want to leave it up to chance, right? Like, doesn't want to give the option for Kelazhur to siege his production and whatnot, so then the game would have gotten even messier, and this game has already been a brawl. So yeah, I mean, Kelazhur still with odds here, might have to pull SCVs to hold here as the tanks are out of position, and see what he can do.
Yeah, tanks just gonna try and keep on pushing in as we have got these Vikings being annoying. The Ravens, man, again, the Ravens are a huge utility to have on your side, but if you can't keep them alive against the Vikings, what does it matter? No, he's gonna lose one. He's gonna lose them all.
Yeah, that's a little bit painful. Now he's gonna lose this position as well. And Kelazhur, I mean, I think he has to split from two sides if he wants to take this engagement. That's what he's gonna do now.
I mean, his army supply is huge. I don't understand why SpeCial hasn't taken another base, though. Like, he's got a CC to float down. I mean, I understand he's afraid, but Kelazhur's been somewhat pinned back.
Yeah, I won't be surprised if SpeCial gets cleaned up. We might have a very sudden ending to this game, right? Like, I feel like he feels like he is all in, and he feels like his opponent has so much economy that he has to win with this army. And yeah, I agree with you. I don't think that has been the case. I think he could have stabilized on the economical front.
Yeah, Kelazhur just checks his base over. He's like, wait, it's not there? He's like, well, that's great. I don't have to deal with it. Brilliant. Marines just going to stem forward, take down the Liberator, most importantly, but a few Vikings as well. Kelazhur losing a bit of his army supply lead. What Kelazhur is doing great is every time SpeCial denies one side of the map, he goes to expand to the other side, right? So that's making it very difficult for SpeCial to be able to really shut him down completely. SCVs are going to repair up a CC, but that's going to cost you some SCVs. Not that you're kind of really short on SCVs right now.
Yeah, I mean, what you're short on is just a real estate, and for no good reason. You have complete map control, right? Like, you should just float. I mean, this might be a blessing in disguise for SpeCial to have gotten the attention to those CCs, because if he lands them, he should just land them somewhere where there's patches to mine. Now, trying to make some headway onto the middle of the map, and he does have the Liberators to continue to push these tanks, but SpeCial is putting a lot of attention into this push, and he really wants to end the game with it. He very well might. But yeah, and finally he takes that bottom base that's going to allow him to mine so much more. It's like going to double his income.
Yeah, this is absolutely huge for him. And obviously just get a couple of gases up there as well, and he's going to be in a golden position. Tanks still firing away. Thor's taking some damage. I mean, Kelazhur has no healing either. His medevac's wiped out because of the Viking count. The Vikings have been one of the biggest issues pretty much throughout at this point.
Here he goes.
Dive. Yeah,
he's going to turn a corner, but I mean, it's nasty to turn corners, bad as the tanks are sieging. That's going to be his best opportunity. Does finish that off, that final tank, but still 25 supply behind. At the same time, Kelazhur does deny the last mining base of SpeCial, at least of the ones that he had situated so far. And SpeCial actually landed his CCs in the same exact location instead of taking additional real estate on the other side. So he really doesn't have anywhere else to transfer. This tank is kind of alone here, and the Liberator will also fall.
And SpeCial's lost a lot of his Viking count, so now Kelazhur's like, hey, what if I build a few Vikings of my own? It's not a bad question. What if you do? What's SpeCial going to do about it? I mean, he's not really building up into more air control himself, so if you get a few Vikings, take air control and build libs, SpeCial can't necessarily fire that off, and Kelazhur's already re-expanding on the 6 o'clock again. He's continuing to do such a good job of that, but that is a problem. That doesn't look good.
Yeah, I mean, that will get taken down, I think. Those two Hellions could morph into Firebats as well, into... Crap, it's late. Hellbats.
Hellbats, yeah.
The CC will get taken down.
Yeah. I thought Kelazhur is maybe going to do, and maybe still is. Army supply is still in his favor. Kelazhur is counterattacking, and SpeCial's entire army's on the other side of the map, right?
Oh my god, he's going to pull back? Is this the right call to pull back? I'm not so sure. There is no Raven. SpeCial has the heavens to thank for that, because these 3 tanks are going to be very annoying for Kelazhur to dislodge. I mean, but SpeCial's like not mining.
Kelazhur just needs to find like these tanks on siege, right? I feel like the way he's moving is allowing SpeCial to get everything of his army joined up, like reinforcement and these other units. Kelazhur's going to kill off an orbital, keep on moving away, just take free damage when he can get it. He only has 22 workers remaining. Top left side, he's landed a base that is unlikely to do much. He might get cornered in here. This is why I didn't like where he was moving to, right? He's putting himself in a very dangerous position, and he is going to start moving out down the bottom with reinforcements, but he needs to move through that side with reinforcements, because otherwise, what's he going to do? Like, he has no real way to take advantage of this. He does have some guy units to defend. Okay, this
Has
is
to be
obviously
careful. The
wild.
Vikings are threatening as well. This game is so wild. I mean, the player with 1/3 or 1/4 at many points of the SCVs is the one out mining. The one with the more. Okay, here we go. This might be the.
Oh, the tanks at siege!
The worst possible time, and Kelazhur is going to converge onto this army of special, and this is a lot of what special had left. I'm surprised he didn't go for that extra tank, though there was 2 more siege in the back there, so that could have ended up being bad for Kelazhur. Don't let the supply deceive you. The greatest difference there is in the workers, and special is not making great use of them.
Yeah, and Kelazhur actually has 4 orbitals, so he actually has mules he can drop as well to help him out worker-wise too. And if he gets this base down, a fresh place to land some mules, like he's only really building marines, but he's about to start getting some gases up so he can do more. Oh. What is going on?
This game is absurd. I mean, I can understand how frazzled they are. It's the final game for Juan. It's a little bit of his legacy, kind of down the not down the drain so much as, you know, like kind of like a wound in it. Like he's gonna stop a 5-year streak of winning every single tournament in the official circuit, especially for StarCraft 2 Latin America. So, you know, like he's got to be feeling it right now, and finally will establish some real estate that he can very much use. I mean, the SCV transfer is going to be massive, and once again his income is going to like triple from this, from just thinking to fly the CC over here, which is insane to say at this level.
Yeah. I can kind of understand the hesitation, because obviously Kelazhur had been splitting off like a few units here and there, but it just felt like it would have been so worth to just leave like 2 tanks on a base like that, because Kelazhur did not have anything to deal with like 2 tanks defensively on a base. That was kind of the deal breaker. And even now he's like massively oversaturated. Half the SCVs aren't even mining there. And Kelazhur has an army supply lead, but an army supply lead that attacking into a defensive position probably isn't going to do anything at all.
Yeah.
So you have to imagine that Kelazhur has to focus on building back up, which he is. He's taking bases, he's rebuilding SCVs, he knows the situation, and Special's going to come pushing through the middle of the map, and
Surprised Kelazhur didn't stim that little pocket of Marines that he had there to try and buy himself some time. I mean, he's just going to have to forfeit the position. Special is already a little bit too far forward. And the 12 o'clock has also been kind of free for Special this entire time if he wants it, right? Like, it's just a base that he has chosen not to take for whatever reason. There was a Marine parked there for like the last minute or so. It got cleared up. Eventually, careful, Kelazhur. All right, he's gonna go into the 3 remaining tanks. Decent enough split, and Special actually has to pull the SCVs. On the other side, the tanks do get caught and sieged, but they see time to turn around and shell at the bio. Kelazhur's gonna end up losing a lot of that, and one of his last remaining bases will be threatened here.
I don't think Kelazhur can afford to lose this base. This is all of his mining. His 9 o'clock base is so dried up. He is going to come dropping in alongside everything else to then maybe potentially flank. The problem is the units on the bottom have to turn the corner, right? It's like a horrible avenue they have to run through.
Nasty.
I think Kelazhur needs to lift up his 3rd location, like the one that's just north and west of here, and just take that base to the top left again. He's going to counterattack. He's going to go for the fresh base of Special. He has no tank production. It's pure bio. He's just going to run for it. There's a tank siege on the right. Is that in range? Only if the Marauders kind of run toward it. Special sieging of tanks from so far away there, and this base might genuinely be in trouble, forced to lift at the very least. Tanks still on a siege, but they're not sieging in range, Cass.
Yeah, the next tank, however, one of the very key tanks for Kelazhur does get taken down, but he's gonna cut the blood supply, so to speak, for Special, at least for a second there, as he forced the lift off this tank. What a ninja! He just kind of walked by.
This is like the tank game in Reno Party, man. Just walking through the grass, not seen.
I mean, that tank was this game in a nutshell, right? It's just, that was amazing. And now, how do you even analyze this? Like, where do you look at? Even Niall has stopped nodding and playing his own games.
He started to observe. What is it? Even the observer's doing their job.
This is actually insane. Like, where do you look? What is the next point of contention? Like, this game has been so chaotic, right? Like, it's so patchy, so difficult to tell what's gonna happen next, where the deciding move is going to be. I mean, everyone feels the tension here. It's an absurd game of StarCraft.
I feel like what's happened is that Special has been kind of forced down to work one base. He's going to try and take the 12 o'clock, and that might force Kelazhur into fighting a little bit more again. Kelazhur is going to get a chance to kind of get going himself as well, and we've seen this before, this kind of reset. Now, this base going down in the 12 o'clock is obviously going to give SpeCial a lot of mana in comparison to Kelazhur.
Yeah, so we just got shown the income tap, thankfully, and this is the point that we've been trying to make this entire time. If we look at the income tap in about 10 seconds, you'll see reflected where we have been advocating for. But it's so difficult to blame the players because, again, if you look at the map even, it is so chaotic. It is all over the place. And what has been going on is just so difficult to keep track of for anyone, right? So 2 more Hellions randomly are going to go in and kill a couple of SCVs, of course. There is some bio there to respond.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of SCVs, anything helps when Kelazhur is on such a low work count. I love that Kelazhur is building Vikings because I feel like if he can overwhelm in the sky, he can definitely start to just doom drop on top of tanks, right? But SpeCial's realizing as well that the one thing he just needs to reinforce is going to be that air control. So he's building Vikings of his own, also very aware of what's going on right now.
Yeah. My God, I mean, there is gonna be such a relief and so much emotion, I feel like, coming from whichever player ends up taking this game, because it is so freaking tense. Is it the cleanest game of StarCraft we've seen even all day? Not at all, right? Like, it's been so insane, but at the same time, it is so beautiful just to see. Like, you can feel how tense it is and how it is a game worthy of the finals, I think, and of the final match between these two players, at least. Of course, this is not even the finals. Still Cham waiting in the wings, but it certainly wings. It certainly feels like it is the game that will determine who wins this season, at least for me, and a worthy one of that.
Oh yeah, I mean, just absolute mayhem. Kelazhur's strongest point may still just be the fact he's got a massive army supply advantage, right? And now he's building 5 Vikings at a time. A Thor even coming up from SpeCial.
Wow.
You know, with 5 Vikings coming out, he's gonna have air control. And then what if he just builds libs? There's not enough anti-air from SpeCial, man. Against that, there just really isn't.
Can we look at the income tap?
Upgrades on the air is actually kind of a big deal, I guess.
Yeah, true.
Favor SpeCial a lot.
This is something really. Here comes Hellions being chased by medevacs and bio loaded into them. Don't want to lose any units to that planetary fortress. There is a Liberator attempting at harassing from SpeCial. He has been really good at that at this stage, and it's such a low economy game on the side of Kelazhur the entire time that the harassment really does add up. SpeCial finally reestablishing his economy, finally taking a position on his side of things, finally thinking, okay, I'm not all in. Let's reset. Let's start playing a macro game. 33 minutes in, and finally the game looks a little bit more like a StarCraft game, right? Like the red is on the red side of the map, the blue is on the blue side of the map.
It's a good defense. Obviously, though, the Liberator is annoying, but there's a single Viking here, man. Kelazhur is so aware of just things that SpeCial can do, and I mean, right now he's actually still playing a very good game, and he's building Liberators, man. Like, this Viking war is going to be so important. Liberator range, I feel like he knows what he can do to potentially checkmate SpeCial.
Yep.
I mean, 17 tanks don't matter if you get Lib Siege on them, but that's why SpeCial is so smart for having started to build Thors and so on, and that's why Lib range is important to outrange the Thors as well. Get these Libs to fire from a safe distance. Oh man, this is actually so intense. These next couple of minutes are going to be very important. Is we're going to lose.
This fight is so important as well.
Okay,
it's for air control. One Liberator will get taken down at the expense of a couple of Vikings here.
SpeCial knows now as well what Kelazhur is doing for sure, right? So
yeah.
He knows to be much more careful. And look at the bases he's taking. He's taking the entire top left side. And he's starting to push a little bit. Kelazhur has a lot of army supply, though. That's a massive stim. I feel like we're not going to go through the bridge, though.
No, please don't. Please don't.
Oh, my God,
Kelazhur, you're crazy. He backs away. He thinks better of it towards the end there. Will lose like 20 supply for his troubles, though. I mean 20 supply difference between the two, where before he was maybe 20 supply on top. So
okay, but he has 18 to 7 Vikings, and if he gets a few more Liberators up, oh no, the Libs are not in range of the turret. Why are they on their own?
I'm not sure. They take down a tank. I mean, I guess there's another turret on the other side as well, so it's kind of difficult to maneuver, right? If you're trying to do it quickly, if it is this chaotic of a game, and I have to admit, the longer this game goes and the crazier it gets, the more I favor Cham as well to beat whoever comes out of this.
See, this is what I feel like. Kelazhur just running through the middle gives up so many units that suddenly Hellions on the counterattack are extremely devastating. And he just didn't feel like he needed to. Like, maybe if you want to trade out a bit of supply for more Vikings, find another way.
Oh, wow.
It's a depot block on the base, sure, why not?
Yeah.
But yeah, just running head first through the middle of the map, it feels like it gave up control. And you're about to hit lip range, right? Like, it's only about to get better for you moments down the line. Yeah, that's just crazy.
He thinks he saw an opening, but I mean, if you think you saw an opening, you confirm it with a scan. And if you look at that with a scan, you should not, you know.
You should know that that's a lot of siege tanks, right? I mean,
yeah, for
I don't care what you see with the scan, man. There's no way.
Exactly.
You think that's a good idea.
No way, Jose. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
He's building Ravens now as well. And he's going to have a lot, and I mean a lot of air control, Kelazhur, and that can be game winning for sure. I just wish he hadn't lost like 30 SCVs because, you know, he went all the way down to below 20 from like 40-ish, so that was a big loss, and that really affects him, especially when SpeCial is establishing the top left bases and just mining every single one of them with 67 workers, because that feels like something that Kelazhur is not going to have an answer for at all now.
Yeah, and the Thors as well are really going to help against that air, right? Like they can in their own right answer the Liberators without the need for his Vikings to win here. He's going to dislodge the position again, and this game is starting to look SpeCials.
Yes, it really like now we're really having to prey on these Ravens, Vikings, and do we even have any Liberators left? No, I mean, this is why it was so sad to lose the Libs. He invested into that advanced ballistics only to then never build a Liberator again. But it was the absolute right idea, because with Liberator range, oh my god, the Widowmine kills him, the back course does. But with Liberator range, you could have outranged the Thors to some extent, and well, don't get me wrong, Ravens are fantastic units too, but it does feel as though Kelazhur, the last set of fights, made life a lot more difficult for him, as he's going to lose his Ravens immediately, dropping any of his. The Widowmines get burrowed. Oh, they hit the Vikings! What?
Sheesh, that was a little bit too long of a Widowmine, and Kelazhur left scratching his head. Juanito's going to